Average Woodsman here, back with another video. So today I wanted to go over, or at least discuss, woods protection, what type of handgun you should carry when you're in the backcountry, what kind of handguns I carry, and just kind of have a brief discussion about woods protection against different types of wild animals, what kind of calibers, bullets, all those types of things. So let's get in. Let me show you guys how I like to carry these pistols. Sometimes I will carry inside the waistband or outside the waistband concealed. A lot of times I'll just carry inside of my Hill People Gear chest kit bag, and there's a compartment back here that you can easily open and access the firearm. It's super comfortable. It's ideal for most situations because it's riding on your chest. It's easily accessible, and you can carry a larger, heavier pistol if that's something that you need, which honestly, when you're talking about woods protection, a slightly larger pistol and a more powerful cartridge is going to generally be more ideal than carrying a super subcompact pistol in something like 380 or 9mm. I'm not saying that 9mm is not a good caliber, especially if you use a heavy for caliber load, something like a Buffalo Bore 147 grain hard cast. I just prefer when I'm out in the woods to carry something like this. Sometimes I will carry my Glock 19, sometimes I'll carry my 357 Magnum, my 686 Plus, but it's really easy, and you're gonna stage it like so, and then you'll access it by grabbing, pulling, and then you're ready to go. You're ready to go to work. So this is just, this is probably the best way that, or the most common way that I carry it inside this kit bag. Like I said, sometimes I'll carry inside the waistband or outside the waistband. I always carry concealed. I almost never carry open. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about bear protection. It's not something that I have to worry about here in Florida, really. I could only find one instance of someone using a handgun to kill a bear here in Florida. It was a small black bear, and that was it. I've lived here my whole life. Most of my life. I did live out west for a little while, but I've lived here for most of my life. I spend thousands and thousands of hours out in the woods each year. Ever since I was a little kid, I've never one time ever seen a black bear out in the wild. I've only seen it one time, a black bear in someone's backyard along a tree line. That's the only time I've ever seen a black bear that was not in like a zoo here in Florida. So just keep that in mind. If you do live out west, or you do live in areas especially where there are grizzlies or big brown bears, probably the caliber is going to be more specific and more important than it is like here in Florida, where we just have to worry about mainly snakes. You may be a wild hog. If you run into it, they can charge. They can get aggressive, especially if they feel threatened and cornered. But if you live out west and you're in and around the Yellowstone area, you're in around Glacier National Park, parts of Idaho, I lived out west for a few years in bear country. I never saw any big bears. I did see tracks quite often, but so I do have a little bit of experience with bears, grizzlies, and black bear out there out west, but I never encountered any. I never had to use my pistol. If you don't feel comfortable with a handgun, maybe carry bear spray. All right, so right off the bat, all of these firearms are empty. They've all been safety checked, so they're all good to go. In this video, I kind of want to discuss, what firearms you should carry in the woods. I'll start off by saying that virtually any firearm is going to be better than no firearm. With that said, I'm going to quote a hunting guide that used to live near me, and he said, and I quote, "I strongly urge people not to use their EDC gun for woods protection. However, if they absolutely must, at least load it with heavy ammo." I would say that's pretty good advice. Honestly, the caliber, I would say, would probably be the best place to start. Most self-defense ammo is designed to expand and not to over-penetrate, which is great for EDC around town or for home defense where you don't want over-penetration. When you're in the backcountry, dealing with four-legged predators, deep penetration is key. So you want a caliber that's going to penetrate extremely deep with good sectional density and good straight line penetration. You know, this is why bullets, like the bullet selection, it's so important. You know, honestly, it's almost as important as the firearm you choose itself. So generally, you're going to want to carry loads that are hard cast, that use hard cast bullets from, you know, companies like Buffalo Bore, Underwood, Double Tap, Garrett, etc. The reason you choose this type of load is generally because penetration isn't a concern when you're out, you know, you're recreating outdoors. You want straight line penetration against large four-legged animals. But honestly, remember that humans are, generally speaking, far more dangerous, and those heavy for caliber loads will work wonders on a human attacker. So in front of me, I have a few handguns that I use and carry. I actually own larger, more powerful handguns, but in general, I don't carry those as often because they're so big and bulky. For example, I have a Smith & Wesson 629 Deluxe, which actually I've shown in other videos. If you've been watching my channel, you've seen it in other videos. It weighs over 40 ounces empty. That's more than 2.5 pounds. Now add 6 300+ grain loads, and you're talking about a pistol that weighs over 3 pounds. So, I mean, it's not always the most ideal firearm to carry. You know, you're talking about a 3-pound pistol on top of other gear, which for me, the way that I recreate outdoors, I like to travel over long distances into remote areas when I hunt and fish and camp and, you know, practice my skills and shoot videos. So it's not really all that advantageous for me. I think another topic that we should kind of touch on really quickly is how those massive calibers generally, even if you're a good shooter, and I would consider myself a pretty good shooter, calibers like 454 Casull, 375 line ball, 500 line ball, 500 Smith & Wesson, etc., all those, you're talking about calibers that are, you know, cartridges that are so powerful that if you don't know how to correctly shoot them, they can actually hurt you. They can actually cause you harm. Cheap calibers to shoot, you're talking about 10 millimeter, 357 Magnum. For instance, they're not cheap to shoot. They're somewhere between 35 to 45 cents a round, depending on where you buy it from. But those larger calibers are dollars per round. So just take that into consideration. You're gonna want to practice with this firearm at least enough to get good with it. And you don't want to purchase a handgun that is so painful you don't want to practice with it and you can't afford to shoot it. So I'll go ahead and go right to left. So right here I have a Smith & Wesson M&P. This is a 2.0. This one is chambered in 10 millimeter. It has a Hollow Sun red dot on it. Haven't had this one very long, but I've shot it a decent amount already, and I really like it. I've owned quite a bit of 10 millimeters. I've owned 2 Glock 20s, a Gen 3 and a Gen 4. I've owned a Gen 4 29 and a Glock 40 MOS. So I have quite a bit of experience with 10 millimeter. Been shooting it for years and years and years, and I'm actually a huge fan of 10 millimeter. So we have right here Glock 19 Gen 4. I've had this one for probably 15 years. Has a TLR 7A. You guys have seen this in plenty of videos. And then my Smith & Wesson. This is the 686 Plus 7-shot 357 Magnum. I have VZ grips on this, and this one does have a trigger job. So I'm about 7 yards away from the target. Let's go ahead and see how this goes. See how I did. So those are the 3 shots. Not the tightest group, but from a draw, quick, in 3 shots in quick succession. I would say it's pretty decent shooting. Roughly the same distance. This time the 686 Plus 357 Magnum. So I'm not sure what happened. It seems like I'm getting light primer strikes. I've never had that happen with with that pistol, the 686 Plus. I'm assuming it's that ammo. I just bought a bunch of 357 Magnum ammo from Freedom Munitions. It's the 125 grain stuff. It's their target ammo. I'm not sure exactly why. All right, same distance. Glock 19 Gen 4. Let's go. Alright, let's see how we did. I went ahead and put up a new target because the other one had quite a few holes in it. This is, my best group. But it makes sense. I've had the pistol for, years and years and years. I've put thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds through it. 9mm is just a really easy caliber to shoot it. Glock 19 is a really easy handgun to shoot, so it makes sense. Let's close this video out. Kind of a brief overview of it. Where you live, your geographical location will probably dictate a lot for what you carry specifically. Caliber and bullet are probably more important than the actual handgun itself. Whether you feel comfortable with something like a revolver or a semi-auto is up to you. I would say the most important point in woods protection pistols would be carry something that you're comfortable shooting accurately, that you can have consistent accuracy. That's really the most important thing. It's more important than carrying something like a Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum that you can't shoot because you can't, first off, you can't afford to shoot it, or that it has too much recoil and too much muzzle blast and you're not able to get good with it. If you can only carry a 9mm pistol, loaded up with some Buffalo Bore 147 grain, if that's what you're the most accurate with, go with that. If you can, maybe step up to something like a 10mm or a 357 Magnum. Everything that I've researched, it seems that the 44 Magnum is kind of the sweet spot. It has a 98% success rate in bear attacks. Where someone used the 44 Magnum in defense, it stopped the attack 98% of the time. So maybe that's kind of the sweet spot caliber. I tend to shoot 44 Magnum pretty well. It's just a really big bulky pistol. If you go with a full size like an end frame, maybe go with something like the Combat Magnum, where it's a 5-shot Smith & Wesson on a smaller frame. That might be a better choice. Or you can go with the 357 Magnum, has a really good track record, and same with 10mm, has a really good track record. You just have to pick what you feel most comfortable with, what you shoot the best, and what is the most accurate for you. From all the research that I did, probably the biggest takeaway that I got is accuracy and precision, speed. Those things are generally more important, and the actual bullet that you use. You need straight line penetration, something that has good sectional density. That's more important than just having a really big cartridge. Obviously, a long gun is going to be best, but we're all not going to be carrying a long gun on us at all times. Most of the time, we're just going to have a pistol on our person around camp. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Remember to like, subscribe, share videos with your friends and family. Be safe, stay dangerous, and I'll catch you in the next one.